Mary donned her coat and went out the back door in search of her older Schwester Ada, whom she found in the barn mucking out. Ada wore a thick wool kerchief on her head in place of her cap, her black work coat, and a pair of brown woolen mittens. Two of the goats, Blue and Apple, were playing in the barn and keeping Ada company. Ada tapped the manure fork on the floor to remove the straw. "Are they here?" Mary curled her fingers over the stall door. "Yeah. Can you come?" "Almost done." Ada stabbed at a clump of straw. "Did you invite them in and hang up their coats?" "Yeah, and nay. I haven't hung up their coats yet." "We should have Joanna whip up a batch of cookies. And have you warned Beth not to complain in front of our guests?" "Beth is Beth. I'm not responsible for her behavior. And Joanna already has a coffee cake in the oven." Mary quickly turned and walked away before Ada could give her any more instructions. Ada liked being in charge, even though the other Schwestern were perfectly capable of being in charge of themselves. Mary sighed. She loved Ada with her whole heart, and more than anything, Ada wanted to feel needed. If bossing her sisters around brought Ada that much joy, then Mary saw no harm in letting Ada be the boss. Mary went back into the great room where Beth and Joanna were chatting with Esther and Kathy Larson. Without any help from Mary, both visitors had managed to get their own coats hung on the hook by the door. Mary sat next to Esther and pulled Esther's daughter Winnie onto her lap. Kathy reached into her massive purse and pulled out 3 books. "I brought my favorite quilt pattern books for you to look through. What kind of quilt do you want to make?" Joanna held the ticking kitchen timer in her hand. She was very serious about her baked goods and refused to let a cake bake for 1 minute longer than was appropriate. "We want to make a sampler quilt for great-grandmother Beulah to celebrate her 100th birthday." She pointed to Mary. "It was Mary's idea. We're each going to pick a particular quilt block for the quilt." Kathy got a funny look on her face. "I don't mean to offend you, but you didn't think this through very well. It's a nice idea, but there are only 4 of you. That's a terribly small quilt." "We want to make a quilt with 4 sections, 9 of each block sewn together, like 4 smaller quilts put together in one quilt top." Kathy frowned and nodded. "That has potential."